Right, welcome back, and now I'm going to read to you the next part of this Bavalon lore. It is the foundation of the Northern Knights Guild and reforming of the Human and Snow Elf Alliance. After the first humans were granted their kingdoms, Dragoon, his trusted lords, and the last remaining Snow Elf leaders gathered at what would soon become Castle Grey and started reforming the Human and Snow Elf Alliance and making plans to form the Northern Knights Guild. They all gathered to make plans. They all agreed that peoples of every race, birth and rank would be accepted, male and female alike. The ones who joined the guild would be made knight, steward, maester, builder, butcher, or leader, depending on their skills and overall their valour. Then the Northern Knights Guild was established, and their home was Castle Highland on the edge of the southern borders of No Man's Land. Their sigil would be a gerfalcon, the bird of the north, and their famous words would be, "Folk of noble and human birth are not just taken. Folk of every birth and race are welcomed with open arms." That was the start of the greatest knights that would protect Bavalon and her peoples from what was out there in No Man's Land. The elf war between the Dark Elves and all other elf kind. For the next 20,000 years, the peoples of Bavalon, elves, dwarves, humans and half-breeds, lived in peace and harmony with each other. The dragons ruled the skies under the watchful eyes of their leader Parthenax and their spiritual brothers, the dragon tamers. Mortals who can talk to and even tame dragons, and the humans ruling over their kingdoms justfully and at peace with each other. But little did they know that the Dark Elves were returning and back to Bavalon to seek revenge on Emrys. The elf peoples of Bavalon had to plunge the realm into an eternal night. The Snow Elves who lived in No Man's Land were the first to know, and they, along with the humans of No Man's Land, rushed south to find Emrys and tell him that the Dark Elves are returning and that he was in danger. The Snow Elves were the elves and the humans of No Man's Land were the first to be attacked by the advancing Dark Elf army. They fled to Castle Grey in the North's capital. The king at the time, King Cade II of House Jones, remember the alliance between both races and took them in. But then the Dark Elf army marched from No Man's Land and upon the northern kingdoms. The Knights of the Northern Guild put up a good fight, but there were too many of them, and they managed to get past the Northern Knights Guild defences. But they were met by elf armies, wood, high, sea, fire, and of course, Snow Elves. All led by Emrys the Great. My people watched on as Emrys, hero of the last war for Bavalon, the most powerful mage who to ever live, and master of dragon tamers, stood and gave Theros the Destroyer, leader of the Dark Elf race and army, a choice to leave Bavalon in peace and never return, or face extinction. But Theros refused to leave and swore that he would destroy Emrys and everything he loves and cares about. And with that, all-out war between the elf races of Bavalon and the Dark Elves began. My people fought bravely against the Dark Elves in what soon became the 1,000-year war known as the Great Elf War. But to all elf kind involved, it was simply hell. The Wood Elves were the ones who led all of us in the war against the Dark Elf army, but many elves were slaughtered. The Snow and Fire elf races were affected most. The war eventually came to an end when Emrys destroyed the Dark Elf race at the cost of his own people, the Wood Elves, and killed Theros the Destroyer. But also lost the woman he loved, Princess Freya of the South. The war had ended and both the Dark Elf and Wood Elf races fell. Emrys, who is now the last Wood Elf of Bavalon, used his magic to create temple tombs for the Wood Elf leaders in Elwine, Angbo, Valewood and Morgar forests. But as for Theros the Destroyer and his most loyal warriors, Emrys, along with my people, the humans of the North and the survivors of the Northern Knights Guild, took their bodies and all they possessed and took them to be sealed within the high fells of Rugar in the far north of No Man's Land, where they were buried in tombs so dark they would never come to light, with powerful enchantments placed upon them so that they could never be opened. And the Snow Elves watching over the tombs. And the Dark Elves, once again, like the Night Stalkers, passed into legend and became little more than stories made to scare children or for drinkers in taverns to tell anybody who will listen. But there are still those who to this day remember the terrible days of the Dark Elves and the Night Stalkers, even if our other folk in Bavalon believe them to just be legends and stories only children and drunks believe in. After the Elf War and before the Dark Lord's return to Bavalon, for the next 12,000 years, peace was restored to Bavalon. Emrys and Merlin found ways to travel between the worlds. The human monarchs continued to rule their kingdoms. The members of the remaining elf kind went back to their homes. The royal council was formed, and the whole of Bavalon was at peace, until the Dark Days returned, along with the Dark Lord of Oblivion. I'm afraid that's going to have to be it for now, ladies and gentlemen. But I promise you, the next two sections of this lore will be out soon. You have my word on that. For now, have a nice day. Goodbye.